Set 12,000 Newman direct.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Could you come down to the Lubbock SD for me, please?
Copy en route.
Mr. Austin Newman is you.
Yep.
My name is Carlos Walters, Special Investigator of the Department of Justice. We have a warrant out for your request. Sir, I'm going to need you to follow me, please. And this is in relation to a shooting on a Ryan Pierce.
Ryan Pierce. Is there some sort of context I can get?
He was running away. And what happened when he ran away? He ran away and he shot. Oh, sorry, you shot him when he was unarmed. Anyways, that's our belief for that one.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one you're talking about now. This was like right,
Anyways,
actually like right over here, right?
Possibly, sir. I don't want to give you false information, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I believe so. Yeah, I believe it was actually to our right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Moment, so I'm just
Obtain
gonna
your
check
ID, please. Alright, then return to where you go. Okay, you may be seated. Prosecution to stand. Please. Your ID, please. Thank you. Be seated.
Quick thing, Mr. Newman, make sure you're speaking on normal, by the way, when you speak, just so we can all hear you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, court is in session. We are hearing the arrangement of the state versus Austin Newman. I am your judge, Maverick Whiskey of the Fishers Island District Court. During this proceeding, I expect any and all persons within the building to behave accordingly to the law and not to cause any disturbances during and following this proceeding. Any of those found causing any issues within my courtroom will be charged with contempt of court, which is punishable by up to 30 months in jail. If I find that either prosecution or defence have disrupted the court in 3 occasions, your party will be found in contempt of court. Prosecution, please state the charges that Austin Newman is facing.
Yes, one moment, Your Honor. Let me just get it up here. Alright. So the prosecution currently is pushing a first-degree felony aggravated assault and third-degree felony criminal negligence.
Got that right? First degree felony, aggravated assault, and first degree felony
criminal negligence.
Okay, first degree. Criminal. Right, okay. This time, the court recognises the right of the defendant to enter a plea on the stated charges. How does the defendant plea to this aforementioned charges?
Not guilty to all charges.
Prosecution, Can you please give an estimated time needed to prepare evidence? The court is now in recess for up to 15 minutes. Or well, it'll probably be
Your
about
Honor,
5.
I can get the evidence to you right now.
You can give the evidence right now, we'll just hold it for like 2 minutes then.
Alright, so for now, do me just give you all the evidence so you can review it?
Please.
Do I have permission to approach the bench?
You do.
So you're gonna have to give the evidence to the defense as well. Am I permitted to go over to the defense and give him the evidence?
Sure, man.
This is my initial evidence. The false report.
Oh my god.
Evidence. Jacob. No.
The evidence is ready, I'll read off the... Done giving it demos.
Your Honor, I know court is in recess, but after you finish reviewing the evidence, I'd like to make a couple statements about the evidence. Is that okay?
That's fine, let me just say this off first. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I will be reviewing the evidence provided to me and will return to give my ruling in approximately about 5 minutes. Court is now in recess.
Stop right there.
Sorry, I have to be right. I could do it. Probably DOJ. It's a good idea. Let's do some. You can use some CID shit. Just walks in. Hi. What are they?
Sometimes we're gonna have foot chase 035069.
This is DOG to SD. Can we get a unit
This is a closed
to
hearing, I'm sorry. You
DOC
can't.
courtroom?
You have to.
It's responsive.
This is a closed hearing. I'm sorry. If you're in a law enforcement capacity, then you're gonna have to
It's fine, then I'll give us one.
use an identification, please.
Okay, we have a disturbance within the courtroom. Also, please remove the man in the courtroom.
Verify that I can verify he's an officer.
Your Honor, I just have what appears to be a random civilian in this courtroom. It was understood that this is a closed trial.
Yes, I did say that I will
Mr.
hold anyone in
Newman.
contempt of court who disturbs this trial. Officer, please.
Claims that
Got
he's
the
an
man.
officer, so if he is, I'm sure he's happy to be here, but I don't know if he's an officer or not. I was asking for identification. Do you think would that be okay if I can just take identification?
If we can get identification from him, that would be fine. And then please pass on that identification towards me.
Yes, sir. It's already broken out, isn't it? Thank you. Be Kirkland, sir. CID operative.
Mate, can I get a brief description on what's happening in this video? Because I'm a bit confused what's actually happening. And I see a man being chased.
It's fine. I'll explain evidence.
Okay, if you wish to
Um,
provide the statements, give me a second. Actually, I'll read this first. Give me a second.
So I'll speak about. Wait, can I do the statements now or not?
Hold them off for a second.
Just tell me when.
Guys first. You may begin to start with your statements, so. What?
We've believed you've disappeared under the desk. Anyway, let's start the
Thanks.
statements now. So, Your Honor and opposing counsel, you do have at 0.59 seconds into the video, you will see Sergeant Sean Hardy fire two shots that
What, two failed
disable
shots?
this man's movement. At this point, you will notice that Sergeant Hardy firing those two shots didn't actually kill Mr. Pierce. All he did was disable his movement. From there, there is a vast amount of time to where he is just standing, and then Mr. Austin Newman pulls the fatal shot, killing him. Since he was unarmed and disabled, there is no need at all for him to be shot. That's the initial statement that I had. He was unarmed, and at that point, he was disabled for a bit. There was no need. He wasn't posing an immediate threat at that point in time.
Okay, good man. Just, you could possibly just wait a couple of seconds so I can try and fix my problem here.
Funny.
Problem now.
The second piece of evidence, by the way, is the use of force report that under the Freedom of Information Request Act was given to me by command in the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, right. All your statements, prosecution?
For now, yes, unless defense has a counter statement.
Vince, would you like to make a counter statement?
Yes, I would. So, Your Honor, I would like to point out this video does start a few moments after the suspect in this case had shot at us multiple times, disabling our vehicle. And I'd like to point out that we were chasing him from DOC. He had just been involved in a hostage situation beforehand. We had, and that's when he pulled his weapon. That's why we were chasing him, is in connection with that. Whenever we shot, I didn't check to see exactly how long the time in between from when the sergeant shot and I shot, but it was within a few seconds. I didn't even realize that he'd shot until after I took him down. As far as what I could tell from my point of view, he was still moving and he was still armed. He had already fired at us multiple times, and we weren't taking that risk. We were warned multiple times by other officers, do not take that risk, because we still believed he was still going to pull out a weapon and fire at us.
I have a statement to that, to back.
You may make a statement.
Right, to start,
Start with your statement.
I understand there was shots fired initially. Keep in mind there was quite some time from the vehicle shooting compared to the running, because he fled for quite some time. Mr. Newman did attempt some vehicle maneuvering techniques, but unfortunately they didn't work. Now, what I'm trying to stress to you here is that there was no immediate threat. The threat was not immediate. Once he was disabled, he was stationary in his position, he was already shot. He wasn't armed at that point in time. Yes, I completely understand that beforehand he did shoot at the officer, but there could have been less than lethal force.
This off then. Ladies and gentlemen, court is back in session. We are hearing the official ruling of State versus Austin Newman. At this time, after careful review of evidence, I will be ruling in favour of the prosecution on the charges of aggravated assault and criminal negligence. Prosecution, please take this individual into custody. This individual will be placed in custody for first.
Problem. Before you actually do your official sentencing, Your Honor, I'd like to say that at this point, Mr. Newman was extremely compliant. He was utmost respect. So if you can.
I was going to cut him some slack on time.
Already been here a lot, by the way, as well as that, he was extremely compliant for the entire of the incident, in which he was respectful about it as well. So if you can keep that in mind when you do your sentencing, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, second. Let's resign. Okay, I'll continue to read this off. This individual will be placed in custody for up to 240 months and will be not issued a fee due to the fact of his compliance. So, ordered prosecution, please take the defendant into custody. Court adjourned. So, face any financial from this? If I was.
Can you please follow me?
Deal with the financial penalties. Fail this. Just, you know, first time being a judge, you know, just fucking throw me in the room.
Alright. I really don't even know where to begin with this entire just aid situation. I guess we'll start with my point of view of the shooting, or the entire chase, really. So it starts out, I'm at DOC. I was just involved with the shootout. There's a hostage situation going on there. Here, there's something going on over at the front, where apparently a guy pulled out a gun. I walk on over there and see the guy in the white. The guy in the white then decides to jump inside of a car, stealing it, and then runs over a civilian. Another officer fires at him multiple times. I get inside my car and pursue while another car in front of me is pursuing too.
I'm not getting run over. David 26, shots fired. Hit and run vehicle. Keep going. Keep going. Leaving DOC.
Skipping ahead a bit, you can see where Joey 1050s with the suspect, I'm assuming who I was a bit behind, also knows he ended up blowing up. So Joey got in along with Sean Hardy. So I attempt to catch up with him.
If we get near SD, I can get my charger.
Speeding through, he goes into the airport. We block it off. I decide to go turn around and go towards the other entrance. And then that's when we see that he's coming out of the first entrance he went through. So we continue the chase him through Lubbock. One officer, Joey, jumps out. Sean stays in my vehicle. Still going through Lubbock. And then we hop onto the beach here, continuing to chase him.
Current location?
Inside airfield, where'd he go?
722. 65.
We've lost him.
And then he gets a decent distance away, but luckily his tire tracks are still there, so I follow those.
Is EMS still at... Yes.
And then he goes past the truck stop, still following his tire tracks.
Is there a way out of the actual friggin' airport?
And then we go over the hill, see he's crashed into a tree, he's out with a gun, and he starts shooting at us.
It'll be just
I immediately call out for help. He then starts running on foot away, so I get back in my vehicle and attempt to stop him, while Sean continues to chase him down on foot.
In like 1 second.
What's your location? Get your correct cords.
Call it out now. Location. 26, officer down. It's going to be along that line of pursuit. Do you have any eyes?
I'll kill you. I swear to God, you
Or
stole my
where
car
these
already,
shots
you bum.
erupted. Any officers
Doesn't
still up
give
there?
you a right to shoot me.
I can shoot you if I want.
He
Son
said
of a
north
right
of
there.
greenhouse.
Stop.
Shoot the nerd.
You can see he's running on foot. He still has his weapon holstered. I try multiple times to disable him with my vehicle to knock him down, and it's not working. And from my point of view, a couple of those times should have worked, but it just doesn't appear like it was working. More than likely desync, I would say, but...
Good luck finding him now.
Sometimes we're gonna have foot chase 035069.
Is it the guy with the white t-shirt?
Shoot him. Don't take the chances with
And then on the radio, you hear an
What's the
officer say,
location?
shoot him, don't take the chances with him.
Closest landmark.
Sean Hardy then
I got
fires
officer.
the 2
Yeah,
bullets in his
042,
magazine.
062,
He runs out of
full
ammo, and then I fire the final shot, knocking him down.
Suspect is down.
give your cords again.
Suspect down at 035069.
And then we skip ahead a bit, and you can see when the subject's revived by EMS and then drops his gun on the ground, proving that he was still armed while he was running from us. Alright, let's go ahead and continue now. I guess now we'll take a look at Sean's point of view. So this was captured from a Twitch live stream, and it was used in a case later with this guy because he was pleading not guilty to the charges. Anyways, so again, starts out, he's over here at the front because he was dealing with the situation because apparently someone had a gun out in a white shirt. So, as you can kind of see from my point of view, he takes off. They're the first unit chasing him behind him. They go onto the beach, they get caught in something, they just continue on. And then skipping ahead a bit, it looks like Joey gets a bit too close to the Tahoe, and the Tahoe desyncs backwards and ends up blowing them up. And then I pull up, they get in my vehicle, I continue chasing them. Same thing from my point of view. We skip ahead a bit to where we're going over the hill. He's sitting over there. He starts shooting at us.
It'll be just northwest of greenhouses.
Sean switches his taser out for his pistol. and continues to chase him on foot.
What's your location? Get your cords.
Sean warns multiple times to stop.
Stop right there.
Again, as you can see at this point of view, I attempt to stop him using the vehicle, which doesn't work. And then we get to the exact same spot to where the officer calls out, "Don't take the chance, shoot him." Sean only had 2 bullets in his magazine, as you can see at this point. He aims at him and then fires both shots, goes to reload, and is about to shoot him again, and then I shoot him.
Suspect is down.
Give your cords again.
Suspect down at 035069.
So, one of the big things in that trial was saying I shot an unarmed person, which, I mean, in this video, it's very clear he was not unarmed. He shot at us multiple times and was still running from us despite us telling him to stop. There was nothing. One thing I did notice, and I did bring it up even in this case, was the video provided by prosecution was edited very conveniently. It just happens to start a few moments after he stopped shooting at us in holsters and doesn't show any of him shooting at us type of stuff, which is, I find, very odd. It doesn't show the part where he ran someone over. It doesn't show anything that he did wrong. The video only shows what we apparently did wrong. And another point I want to bring up is during the trial, prosecution said that I apparently disabled his movements when I shot, or I should say that Sean disabled him when he shot him twice, even though in my point of view and Sean's point of view, you can clearly see that he is still moving and is making no, sign of giving up. He is still moving, about to go around a corner where he very well could pull out his pistol and fire at us again. And another thing I want to point out is in the Fisher's Island Sheriff Department SOP, so the Standard Operating Procedures, we have a level system of use of force. Level 5 use of force is the last resort, but it kind of goes with what happened there. It's authorized or unauthorized use of deadly force. In the situation where the suspect has not only committed a felony, but has also or is willing to cause a bodily injury to either you, another deputy, or another civilian. It even gives some examples, such as a gunman firing at deputies, which he did, so that's already level 5 use of force. Another one is if he shoots at someone and then flees, which again kind of includes back to the situation he shot at us and was running and still not stopping. Stuff like that. It still is covered by level 5 use of force. I mean, just because they holster the pistol doesn't mean they're no longer a threat. They are most definitely still a threat. And I mean, that's kind of what level 5 use of force is all about. And that's what the entire SOPs are, is kind of the type of thing supposed to outline what your legal duties and, how to do your job within the scope of the law. I don't understand how this was even debatable in the court. I mean, it was very clear, a clean shooting. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And another note I noted down is, in the video, you can hear the judge talking as I'm being brought out, that how it was his first case, he just kind of got thrown into it. And I think that was kind of led to the reason why I was found guilty of these charges. It was his first case. I don't think he really understood how everything worked, because it just doesn't really make any sense. He was a new judge, didn't give me a full trial, which was completely ridiculous considering every single other case like that, especially against like an LEO, always gets a full trial. Everyone I've seen always has had a full trial. They don't just immediately do their little mini trial and call it done. That should have gone to a full trial. It was just ridiculous. Alright, So I guess we'll go ahead and move along with this just cancerous situation. So after this happened, I was like, whoa, this, isn't right. So I continued looking for attorneys as I wanted to try to appeal the case. Finally, I found someone who, was willing to take the case, Kyle Matthews. He looked at it and he found it absolutely ridiculous that I was found guilty of these charges. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So he went ahead and wrote up an appeal for me and put it in the district court section. So he supplied all the evidence, as you can see here, what was originally shown, then the new evidence showing it, and he went on, from his own time and the sheriff department had first-hand knowledge of the SOPs regarding the use of force, which I've already, brought up. The fact that he fired at us, he ran away, the use of deadly force is still authorized. And he goes on and, just, take a quick look at this. Very, very valid points. Like every single one of these points he put here is extremely valid. And then even in the additional information he put how I was not offered or how I wasn't given enough time to prepare my defense, and that the evidence brought forward by prosecution was not properly examined or cross-examined. At the very least, he thought this should have been a full trial, which I fully agree because of the nature of the incident. It was ridiculous. And again, goes back to the SOPs about lethal force should have been brought into evidence, and it was kind of a ridiculous thing. And then Chuck Finley, at the time, he was like the head of DOJ when this was posted, which wasn't even that long ago. And then he asked for both sides from the judge and then from prosecution's sides of the trial. And then he also noted here, which is kind of a big thing, in the future, the individual in question is meant to file the appeal as they are the ones that should be representing their side of the trial or incident or how they have changed. Nothing in the guidelines said anything about that until after he posted that. And I have screenshots of that. After he posted that, he edited the appeals process to state that you can't have a defense attorney write it for you, which doesn't make any sense because you should have someone who's, FIBs or whatever their certification, I forget is called. They should have that, their bar exam. Someone who is, certified in that area should be the one writing it, not just some civilian. Doesn't make any sense to me. Scroll down a bit, and we see how the prosecution says that he didn't feel anything needed to be added to the trial. Yes, suspect shot, however, there was a reasonable amount of time for time switch to less than lethal as the suspect did not show any further threat, which is not true. He had a weapon. He was fully capable of threatening us. Again, Sheriff SOPs. And then Kyle replied to that, saying that Ryan Pierce was still armed, which I've shown you the video. He was still armed and already shot at the sheriff deputies. According to the SOPs, he was still a threat and to be met with lethal force, which is exactly what the SOPs say. And then if we go down, the judge, which is actually suspended on the website right now, that's a bit odd, I didn't notice that. He's no longer in DOJ, either is the head of DOJ, who originally was the person who closed my appeal. But he said that in his opinion, the officer in question had plenty of time to use non-lethal and decided upon himself that the suspect could have been tasered or could not posing a threat. I don't know if he's ever used a taser, but you can't tase from the distance that we were from him. It's too far away to work. I tried non-lethal measures several times, like before lethal was used. I don't even get his point there. Like, non-lethal measures were used. Just because we didn't use a taser doesn't mean we didn't try non-lethal measures. And then right after that, Kyle even says how at that range a taser is completely ineffective, which is true. It is too far away. He went on saying that if I had stopped what I was doing and switched my taser, Ryan would have had enough time to draw his firearm again and fire at the deputies pursuing him, which is true because we knew he still had the weapon. He already shot at us, proving that he had the ability to do it. He had the intent to do it, so it just wasn't worth that risk. And again, he points out that according to the SOPs, he was still a threat, and even not to the SOPs, just kind of think about that situation. Someone shot at you, they still have a gun, they are still a threat, just because they don't currently have it in their hand. And then Kyle asks Chuck to further highlights why the SOP should have been brought into evidence. With your permission, he was asking if he could subpoena the SOPs regarding the use of force so that he can cite the exact one, which I just showed you guys anyways. And then Chuck says that standard operating procedure does not trump law, even though the whole point of the SOPs is to give you an outline on how to lawfully do your duties, so that doesn't really make any sense. Criminal negligence is defined as reckless, and the manner is defined as acting in a way that shows a failure to act as a reasonable person would in the same situation, with regards for the safety or life. Have to put that out there. Asked multiple other people, other sheriff deputies, just other people in general. I've had no one other than people in DOJ, and those people in DOJ were involved in the case, say that I shouldn't have shot. Everyone else I've talked to, SD, past SD, civilians, they all don't see the issue with this. And a big point of this is, from my knowledge, it wasn't even the person I shot who brought this up. It was the private investigator, Carlos, who brought it up, which again, doesn't make any sense. There wasn't even a complaint against it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. He then goes on to say that I showed intent demonstrated through my actions that I prioritize lethal force over anything else. That is completely false. If you watch my video, you can clearly see that I attempted to knock him down with my vehicle instead. And this case, attempted to strike, yep, which is the thing. I tried to do it. And then he said that Hardy had shot the suspect and it stopped him, made him not moving anymore, which is not true. The video shows he was still moving, did not slow down whatsoever. And you can tell that Pierce was wounded and stopped firing his weapon. Said, which I have to point out that he was not wounded at that timestamp. He wasn't even shot at that timestamp. I did not have enough. And then he said I had enough time to stop, place his vehicle in park, exit, draws fire, and fire his weapon. Pierce did not make a attempt to drive. Another order may not be heard. In addition to submitted evidence, before even fully out of vehicles, blah blah. Which, I mean, this entire thing is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, he's saying I did not attempt to, I just jumped straight to lethal. Which, no, I tried non-lethal. I probably would have even tried my taser if I would have had any taser cartridges for it, which I didn't, because I kept, no one filled my order, even though I went through 3 different SD suppliers, and no one filled any of my orders, so I was out of taser ammo after the last incident at DOC. And then he just dismisses my appeal, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Alright, so I guess just moving along here is, you know, people in SD and anyone I've talked to don't really understand why this happened. Right after the entire quote-unquote trial happened, I immediately messaged Sean on the website asking him, like, if anything happened to him, because it didn't make sense. And I even asked him about it, and he, as you can see here, he was like, just didn't even realize what was going on. He was confused about what was going on, because nothing happened to him. And I explained to him everything that was going on, and he tried to help me. He got the names of everyone, referred me to a judge, and that's kind of where the appeals process started. I have a friend in SD, and in the SD Slack, the program that they can use to chat, patrol room, stuff like that, he went ahead and put this in. You can see it right now. He was saying how a friend of his was recently fired from SD from a wrongful DOJ ruling. He got together some of the evidence, put it on a document, and then he asked everyone kind of what he was, asked other officers just to kind of give their opinions, what they thought about it. And after that, there was a reply from Sean Hardy, and he quoted, "There are actions from the 2 individuals here. One incapacitated the suspect and was no longer deemed a threat. The other acted as a complete opposite capacity compared to someone in the exact same situation, end quote. What? I thought the video was pretty clear. The only reason I stopped firing was because my magazine was empty. That's literally the only reason why he stopped firing. He was going to continue shooting. It's not like he was trying to disable him. He was trying to completely knock him down. He ran out of ammo. That's the only reason why he stopped shooting. And as you saw in the video, he was out of ammo, reloading, about to take another shot, and then I took my shot. And then he goes on to say, Mr. Pierce repeatedly ignored orders to leave DOC during a hostage situation. He obstructed our ability to handle such a hostage situation, possibly was involved with the hostage takers, and there was no evidence for that, of course, in a situation that resulted in several LEOs being shot, including me. I was in that situation. I shot a suspect, and I was shot multiple times, and I was actually knocked out and had to get EMS. I was involved in that. He then stole a vehicle, ran over a civilian, fled from us, shot at us, and continued to flee with a gun in his possession into a residential area. Mr. Pierce was very much a continued threat to us and the public, and he says he stands behind my decision to fire, which, I mean, it makes sense. There was, we were told to fire, level 5 use of force, everything, nothing really adds up to say, oh, that wasn't a justified shooting. Everything adds up to say it was. So, it's just kind of ridiculous. And then, I think it's, last name's what I think it might be David, but, he said, lol, if someone shoots at you, you don't, leave code red. Stupid judges don't know our training. I should be handling this shit, and it's one of the reasons why they got fucked. And he is referring to, DOJ was being shut down just because of the numerous issues that was going on at the time. And, I mean, it still goes along with the thing. They didn't believe that I should have been fired over this. I shouldn't have been charged with this. It was just utterly ridiculous. This video is already kind of getting long. I'm going to try to wrap it up. It's probably within its 30 to 40 minute range. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. I have no idea what it's going to be, but I have a shitload of stuff on my hard drive, so we'll see. Adios.